Sir Isaac Newton. He was a scientist, mathematician, and astronomer. He was born on January 4, 1643, in Woolsthorpe, England. His father's name was Isaac Newton Sr., and mother's name was Hannah Ayscough. His father was a farmer and had died 3 months before Newton's birth. His mother remarried when Isaac was 3 years old and left young Isaac in the care of his grandparents. Isaac attended school, where he was an adequate student. At one point, his mother tried to take him out of school so he could help on the farm, but Isaac had no interest in becoming a farmer and was soon back at school. Newton attained his preliminary education from the King's School in Grantham, where he excelled and achieved the top rank. He then enrolled himself as a sizar at the Trinity College, Cambridge, in 1661. The young Isaac Newton is sitting in his garden when an apple falls on his head, and, in a stroke of brilliant insight, he suddenly comes up with his theory of gravity. He would spend much of his life at Cambridge, becoming a professor of mathematics and a fellow of the Royal Society. He eventually was elected to represent Cambridge University as a Member of Parliament. Isaac had to leave Cambridge from 1665 to 1667 because of the Great Plague. He spent these 2 years in study and isolation at his home in Woolsthorpe, developing his theories on calculus, gravity, and the laws of motion. In 1696, Newton became the Warden of the Royal Mint in London. He took his duties seriously and tried to get rid of corruption as well as to reform the currency of England. He was elected President of the Royal Society in 1703 and was knighted by Queen Anne in 1705. In 1687, Newton published his most important work, called the Philosophiae Naturalis Principia Mathematica. In this work, he described the 3 laws of motion, as well as the law of universal gravity. This work would go down as one of the most important works in the history of science. It not only introduced the theory of gravity, but defined the principles of modern physics. Outlined in the Principia, his theory about gravity helped to explain the movements of the planets and the sun. This theory is known today as Newton's law of universal gravitation. Newton's laws of motion were 3 fundamental laws of physics that laid the foundation for classical mechanics. Newton invented a whole new type of mathematics, which he called fluxions. Today we call this math calculus, and it is an important type of math used in advanced engineering and science. In 1668, Newton invented the reflecting telescope. This type of telescope uses mirrors to reflect light and form an image. Nearly all of the major telescopes used in astronomy today are reflecting telescopes. He died at March 31, 1727, in London, England, at the age of 84. To every action, there is always opposed an equal reaction, said Isaac Newton.